and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt.
And hello, everybody. How are you today? We have Matt Walsh, and he is actually talking about not only Donald Trump's comeback, but how Donald Trump's election has now changed how we receive information about politics. Let's listen.
It was historic, not just because Trump pulled off a political comeback unlike anything ever seen before since this country's founding. And it's not just because he survived multiple assassination attempts, an unprecedented campaign of lawfare designed to keep him off the ballot and throw him in prison, although all of those things are certainly true. Trump's victory was historic because, as Trump himself said last night, it marked the day that Americans regained control of their country. Trump earned a clear and unmistakable mandate for the simple reason that after a decade of flagrant lies and manipulation from the corporate press, Americans have finally decided that they've had enough. Nobody believes the media anymore, or the national security experts, or the corrupt prosecutors in the DOJ, or places like Fulton County, Georgia. These con artists just don't have power anymore. They can't just cry racism and fascism and sexism and get what they want. They can't pretend to be offended about a comedian's joke about Puerto Rico or whatever and win over any voters because of that. They can't.
What do you think? What do you think, guys? Do you think this has changed anything? Do you think Donald Trump election this second time has put a sea change as far as how we receive political information or not? Give me a comment. Let me know. And hey, guys, if you like this content and anything else that I might do, please, thank you very much. Please hit that subscription button. It really does help as far as the algorithm is concerned. And hit a like. Thank you all very much.
Can't sell a vapid nobody like Kamala Harris as a serious presidential candidate. There are limits to what Americans are willing to tolerate. And that limit has clearly been exceeded by these people. The power of the legacy media to set the narrative, to control what people think and believe, has been utterly destroyed. I mean, they have been left powerless, ineffectual, feeble. They have been exposed as totally insular, just talking only to themselves. They are impotent. Trump has now effectively castrated the media, and as some of us have been warning for a long time, the procedure is irreversible, I think. So Trump's victory shows that we're living through the single greatest sea change in American politics since the invention of the television. The television ushered in the era of the reputable newsman who could supposedly be trusted to deliver the cold, hard facts in a dispassionate manner. So when the newsman told his audience that Richard Nixon was a crook, they just believed him. After all, why would the newsman lie about something like that? He had good sources in the intelligence agencies and so on. Well, that's all finally gone now. I mean, it is officially and finally gone. What little credibility the media had left was decimated for good, basically, in 2020 when they expended all of their capital pushing an endless stream of lies about COVID in order to damage Trump ahead of the election. That's why they implemented lockdowns, which weren't necessary. It's why they forced everyone to wear masks that didn't work. It's why they banned you on social media if you asked where COVID came from and why Tony Fauci's agency was funding that lab in Wuhan. And then after Joe Biden took office, they admitted that they were lying about everything. Yeah, the virus probably did come from that lab in China, they told us. No, lockdowns didn't do anything. Yes, the masks were useless, just as you suspected. And these liars thought that they had won because Biden took over and Trump wasn't in power anymore. They didn't think he'd ever be able to run again. But they were wrong. What they weren't counting on is that Trump and his supporters had no intention of forgetting the lies that they'd been told. And no amount of additional lies about January 6th or about 7-year-old business records cases in New York or about Russian collusion or classified documents in Mar-a-Lago or whatever were going to convince Americans otherwise. Once you destroy your reputation, it's gone. And the reputation of the media and the bureaucracy is gone. They just have no power anymore. The people who should have power, Americans have decided, are those who are honest, people who create things, people with talent, people with intelligence, innovators, pioneers, leaders. Americans have decided that Elon Musk, for example, should have a bigger role in how this country is run. Elon is a great man of history. And now he'll be teaming up with another great man of history, Donald Trump, in a partnership that has potential to change America for the better in immeasurable ways. That's what the voters decided in overwhelming numbers. They decided that Elon Musk should be rewarded for running a company that just caught a rocket booster in midair so that it could be reused. He should be rewarded for creating self-driving cars and restoring freedom of speech to social media. Like, Americans don't care that Elon isn't a half-black, gay, Asian, trans woman or whatever. They don't care that he doesn't check all the Democrats' DEI boxes. They care about merits. That's what they care about. And that's why Kamala was just roundly defeated yesterday. And it's why, if they're smart, Democrats will never run such a transparently phony and vapid and utterly useless candidate ever again. But there's good reason to believe that Democrats are not smart enough to learn that lesson. Hopefully they don't learn it. Hopefully they keep running candidates like Kamala. Indeed, let's hope they give Kamala herself another shot in 2028. I think she deserves it. Let her keep running. Nevertheless, she persisted, remember? Now, from the meltdowns on MSNBC last night, it's clear that the usual on-air race hustlers certainly aren't learning any lessons from this. They're still continuing with their spin long after it's clear that nobody buys it anymore. It's pathetic to watch, but it's also instructive. These are the last gasps of a form of propaganda that is now, as I said, totally impotent. And it was truly comical at points. Joy Reid, for example, praised Kamala for running a quote-unquote flawless campaign. Watch.
Woman president.
Now, honestly, this is the part where I would probably come on and say something about Joy Reid. But the less I say about Joy Reid, I think is the best for the both of us.
Let alone a woman of color. Let's just be clear. And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now. I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed them. You know, I mean, she had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Taylor Swifties, the Swifties.
Flawless. You know, she had Taylor Swift. It was flawless. What else do you need? That's all it takes. A flawless campaign that got totally trounced, yet it's flawless. No flaws. No flaws in a campaign that led to this woman getting blown out. Amazing. You know, and Kamala refused to speak to the most popular podcast host in the country. She barely did any interviews at all. She proposed massive new taxes on unrealized capital gains, along with price controls.
The less Kamala spoke, the better. I think they found that out very, very early within her very short campaign.
You know, promising effectively to destroy what was left of the American economy. She reversed pretty much every one of her policy positions from the past few years on everything from seizing firearms to eliminating private health insurance to banning fracking. Offered no explanation for any of this. But according to Joy Reid, these are all markers of a flawless candidate. Not one single flaw. So how did Kamala fall apart then? What happened to the campaign? Well, you probably know what Joy Reid's going to say. She explains that white women voted on the basis of race, meaning they didn't vote for Kamala because she's black. And watch.
You have a state where you've got a 6-week abortion or a 12-week abortion. I think theirs might be 12 weeks.
Yep.
But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights, where there was a very heavy push to get women to focus on not putting in place, re-electing, putting back into the White House the person who was responsible for taking those rights away and restoring them. But that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. And, you know, God bless Shannon Watts, who has tried to have that conversation. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more, party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing.
Yep, it's all the fault of white people, women. Yeah, you know, scapegoat. Just respond to this by denigrating, you know, the vast majority of the American population. Great idea. That'll help you in the next elections. This is the degree of introspection that somebody like Joy Reid is capable of, and if we're being honest, it's why MSNBC is probably going to change a lot in the next 4 years. If it's able to continue to exist, it means it's going to have to change. Nobody takes this lazy, pitiful commentary seriously anymore. Just nobody takes it seriously. In response to a defeat of historic proportions, Democrats and MSNBC are now reduced to calling Democrat voters racist. That's where we are. Now, what's more likely is that, contrary to Democrats' expectations, most women are not obsessed with killing their own children. Now, that's the issue here. The whole pitch to women voters from Democrats was, hey, vote for us and so that you can kill your babies. Turns out that pitch is not good enough for the majority of women. Maybe it was a mistake to make every single advertisement into a demented lie about abortion when Americans are struggling to pay for groceries. Americans are thinking about how are they going to feed their children, not how can I kill my children. So could that be the problem? Could it be possible that Americans, including white women, are more worried about the cost of living than their ability to kill their own child? Could it be that the majority of parents are more concerned about caring for their children than killing them? That's something to think about. You know, that might be an interesting conversation, but they can't have that conversation on MSNBC because it would contradict one of the many false narratives they concocted. It's the same story on CNN where Van Jones, as many people predicted, was on the verge of tears last night. This is a lot of fun. Let's watch.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy.
She's Indian. She's Indian with the possibility of also being Irish. She's not Black American at all. So she's not one of their own. You know, just saying.
And once again, they're facing rejection. And that hurts. They thought tomorrow morning they're going to walk out with their shoulders back a little bit, maybe able to breathe for the first time and feel like they belong someplace. They did everything that they knew how to do. And it's going to be harder than it should be tomorrow for them to hold their heads up. And they're not the only people who are hurting tonight. If you're a parent of a trans kid, your child's face was used as a springboard to power for somebody. That doesn't feel good. There are going to be people tomorrow, we're going to be handing clothes at the dry cleaners to people who don't have papers. There are going to be people who are going to be cleaning your teeth tomorrow who don't have papers. And they're terrified tonight.
He's not mad, he's disappointed. He's disappointed in all of you Americans, you voters. You didn't do what you didn't do what Van Jones wants you to do. Van Jones made it very clear. Hey, listen, American people, did you not hear what Van Jones has been Van Jones made it very clear what he wants you to do. And you didn't do it. And he's very disappointed. And think of all those black women who are wanted something and won't get it. They won't get what they wanted. That's a tragedy. Because they should get what they want all the time. You know, apparently black women were hoping to breathe for the first time. They haven't been breathing. That's the level of analysis you get from CNN. Somehow black women have made it this far in life without breathing. Haven't taken a breath. By the way, we had a Democrat administration for the past 4 years. Black women couldn't breathe during that whole time. That's how bad it was. So they've been holding their breath for a very long time. And if Kamala had won, they'd finally be able to inhale. But not now.
So what do you think, everybody? Is Matt right? Is the election, or the second election, pardon me, of Donald Trump changed the way that we look at the mass media and how they interpret politics? Honestly, basically the mass media has done absolutely nothing but separate Americans for the past 20 to 30 years, and probably even before that. So honestly, guys, do me a favor, throw some comments in there. Let me know how you feel about this. Is this the end of modern political analysis, and has it gone on past that? Let me know. And like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you later, folks. Later. And I did that twice. One more time.